Welcome to the spokesman. Your voice is a weapon. I never bite my tongue. Welcome. I'm Vincent Tesoro from the Spokesman. This is Our Voice is a Weapon. And I'm sitting here with Dereck, one of my good friends.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dereck.
So I just want to talk to this intelligent man about the issues in his society. So what do you think is on your heart that you want to discuss today?
There's a lot on my heart that I love to discuss, but I think there's two things that I would love to discuss and talk about. One would be the homelessness in our society today, and another would be just education and how expensive education is for college students. You know, as I'm a college student, it's my last year, and college is not cheap. College is expensive and it takes a lot of money. And sometimes I feel like the system is kind of crooked at the same time. Like,
to say the least.
To say the least. Like, I feel like we go out, and then we apply for these schools, and, you know, we take out all these loans, and like, after we graduate, it's just like, okay, I can't find a job and I'm stuck in all this debt.
Yeah.
How am I gonna pay all this debt? And, you know, I feel like this is an issue in my society, in my eyes, and what I see going through, what I'm gonna go through. I mean, they only give you about 6 months to pay these certain loans, and, you know, as a college student, that's something you're gonna stress about.
And those numbers don't even make sense.
No,
they don't add up.
Some of them just don't add up. It's just like for books, for classes, for even a practice room for voice class. They charge me like $300 just to use the voice class. So it's just like they take so much out. And even if you live in the dorms, living in the dorms is very expensive. Because I live in the most expensive dorm on my campus, and it's about like $4,000. Not even counting the meal plan. They have meal plans that go for like $2,000, and it's just like $2,000, $1,500. And let's not get started with the books. The books are expensive as well. So like, you gotta rent books nowadays to even, you know, and majority of the time you don't even end up using the books. You spend hundreds of dollars on college textbooks and you're not even using the books.
And you just use the computer, right?
You just use the computer. And that's another thing that questions me. Is just like, I find all this stuff on the internet, but then I'm going to college when I can find things on the internet. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I feel like that is an issue. There needs to be a way where we can find, like, why college, or make a way where college is not so expensive. And so, like, so people can go to college and not graduate and end up in all this debt. And it's like, okay, how am I gonna pay this debt right now? You know, that's something that's gonna be on their mind before they graduate. Like, how am I gonna pay all this debt off? And, you know, that's an issue that I feel like needs to be dealt with, coming from the college perspective. Like I said, they only give you about 6 months to pay it. So 6 months, and you're calling up your phone like, pay your loans, pay your loans, pay your loans.
And that's late fees.
Late fees, yeah, exactly, late fees. So it's just like, I feel like the system it's just like playing, like, it's like they want you to be in debt.
And even, like, I lucked out and mass rehab helped me pay for my schooling. But even when someone is willing to pay for it, if you don't check in and make sure that they sent that payment, I just found out I owed a couple $1,000. Because that last payment never went through. So I'm waiting for my certificate to arrive. I get an email saying I owe some money. I thought it was a late fee or something small, and then I figured out that it was the whole half of the payment of the schooling, and then a bunch of late fees on top of it.
And exactly, and like,
and I still don't know where I stand. They say it's good, but they said it was good the first time.
And with the whole trying to pay back Sally Mae, and it's just like, you graduate from college. I mean, you're not guaranteed a job. So it's just like, you're stuck in debt. and you don't even have a job where it's just like even in your field, because most of the time, you know, I talk to people who have graduated and to get advice, and it's just like most of them are not even in their field. Most of them don't have a job. So you're graduating college, you're spending all this money just to go to college. My roommate from last year, he couldn't afford it because he was paying out of pocket. Couldn't afford to come anymore because it was so expensive. And there needs to be a way where we find that college is not, you know, a way to pay for college and a way to graduate without being in so much debt. So I feel like, you know, that's an issue. I mean, they have like forgiveness loans, but like I feel like that's kind of there's something funny about that. So that's one issue that I feel like needs to be addressed and there needs to be help. It needs to be helped.
Absolutely, and this is why I feel like we need to speak about these things, because, you know, if we know some politicians out there, you know, people running for office or that are already in office that believe the same way we do, you know, maybe things can actually happen. And it takes the youth. I think once the youth start speaking out, then people are going to be like, all right, we screwed up. Like, we need to do something. Okay? But that's the problem. There's not enough kids or not enough young adults that are willing to stand up and say something about these things.
True. And just to go off of what you said with the young generation, I feel like they're just influenced by the wrong things. And the household is, you know, not taking better care. I mean, it's like they're controlling the household. They're influenced by the internet. They're influenced by what they hear on the radio. They're influenced by what they see in school. So that all these influences, I feel like, are affecting our young people. And, you know, the Bible talks about how the young will raise, the young will lead. And, you know, I feel bad for the next generation. I'm sorry to say that, but it's just like, there's so much going on in this world, and it's just like, but the younger generation is gonna lead us, and I can only imagine what's gonna happen with politics, what's gonna happen with the internet, what's gonna happen with this generation that's going on. And, you know, I like the fact that you brought up the fact that the young, because we're all getting older, you know what I'm saying? I just turned 25, and we're getting older, so the young generation, they have to lead. They have to lead somewhere, you know? So, yeah, they have to lead somewhere.
It's up for us, It's up to us, though, because we're a little bit older than the young generation. True. If we can try and lead, you know, and raise them up right, because, you know, a lot of parents are letting anything go. You know, I try again for the people, the younger kids that, you know, I see on the block, I see on the stoop, this and that. I try and talk some sense into them and tell them, like, listen, I've been there and done that. Like, focus on this. You know, like, you have potential. Focus on it. You have a gift. Grow in it. You know, instead they just, you know, rather get drunk and rather get high.
I mean, like, I feel like they want to turn up. They want to do certain things that are not, like, contributing to their dreams, and, like, I feel like they need motivation to go for their dreams, but they're surrounded by negativity. And especially in the household, you know, and not having a father in their life, not having a mother in their life, their parents not being there or supporting them. I feel like it starts in the household first, and once it leaves the household, it's just like they're surrounded by all this negativity of the world. So I think it definitely starts with the children.
And we need to have compassion for these younger kids, because you wouldn't believe the percentage of the trauma that you see in a household. You know, all the kids have went through things that I couldn't believe someone would go through at such a young age. I mean, I know I have, I know you have, and we all know people that have, but it seems like crazier things are happening to younger kids, younger than before, you know?
Just to go off what you said about the younger kids, I mean, Florida just had a shooting with a young kid. He killed about 17 kids in a it was in a side of a school building. I mean, who would have thought something like that would happen? You know, that's a society we live in today. It's just like, you're not safe anywhere. School, you know, a school, like, what are kids doing with guns? You know, how did he get access to a gun to inside of a school, and why would he do that? You know, something probably triggered him, or it probably started in the household. So that's the kind of the generation that we're living in. It's just like these kids have access to guns, these kids have access to the internet, these kids have access to everything, and it's a scary thing. It's a very scary thing.
Well, God bless those families that lost their kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But you're absolutely right. And what I want to do is I'm trying to have people join in with me, that eventually we can go out into the society and bless some of these people. Sit down and talk with them. Sometimes having a conversation, you got people on the street that picked up an addiction or alcohol or prostitution, whatever it may be, because of the trauma in their life. None of these people that become addicted or have went down these really dark paths in their life have not been through trauma. They all have. You know, so, you know, people that don't have anywhere to go, people that are living on the street.
And I think that ties back into another issue that I wanted to talk about, and it was homelessness. After doing a documentary on the homelessness up in Boston, a lot of the interviews, something has triggered in, you know, people's lives that they end up on the street and say, oh, I want to be homeless. You know what I'm saying? So, like, homelessness was definitely triggered by something that has happened previously in their life. Whether it be, oh, you got an eviction letter, or someone kicked you out, or the drug addiction. You know, a lot of them were drug addiction addicts, but at the same time, it's like something has triggered them in their life to be homeless. And
well, something triggered the drug addiction.
Exactly. It's a cycle. It's a cycle that
a vicious cycle.
A vicious cycle, and it's a scary thing. It's a scary thing, and that's like some of the things people don't talk about. You know, they see homeless people on the street. It's just like, oh, you know, why don't you get a job? Why don't you do something with yourself? And they don't even know the story. They don't even know how they got there. And it's just like, we judge with our eyes, but have you sat down and talked to that person? And a lot of the times, from interviewing other people and just hearing other people's point of view, it's just like, you know, all they do is beg. But until you're in that situation, you can't just judge somebody and like, they're just going to get drugs. You know, a lot of people do that. A lot of people see homeless people on the street, they're like, oh, they're a drug addict. Oh, they're going to use that money to buy drugs. I mean, I'm not the one to judge, you know, but some of them do. Some of them don't. That's just from talking to them. That's just from sitting down and interviewing. That's just from, you know, seeing the same people on the street, you know. And
I'm sure you have judged them over time, you know, but I bet you
everybody
that gave you a change of heart for sure.
Exactly. And like, I don't have it all, but you know, I try. You know, I try my hardest to give what I have and when I can give, you know what I'm saying? So even just like encouraging the people, or like when I was doing my documentary, I would it's called Pass Me Not. I would go and buy some, like, I would buy them food, I would buy them water, I would talk to them, you know, and I would get to know them. You know, me and Frederick, who's previously on here, when I was doing my documentary, we went out praying for the homeless people that we were interviewing at the same time, and just sitting down and getting to know them, you know, because at the end of the day, they're people just like us.
That's ministry.
That's
what this ministry is about. And I pray that, you know, eventually there will be funding from the spokesman, so we can start by talking about it and then actually be the change. Be able to go out into society and do something about all these issues. You know, step by step, a little goes a long way.
True,
A little goes a long way. And for today, just for today, we're going to stand up and talk about it. We're going to talk about the issues of this world. As controversial as it may be at times, there are going to be some controversial topics that might get under people's skin. So I'm going to let you be aware of that now. And you might hate on it, but ironically, it's all out of love. So we're going to end this session today. Vincent Tesoro from The Spokesman. This is our Voice as a Weapon. My good friend Dereck. And I hope you guys have a great day. God bless you.
And we out.
Welcome to The Spokesman. Your voice is a weapon. I never bite my tongue.